Among them, the British Secret Service had a base here. Elia is about to reveal to Cullen a crucial link between the British Secret Service and Rasputin's murder.
Richard, do you see over there that yellow building in front of us? This is Yusupov Palace. And over there, there was Hotel Astoria, where British Secret Service was based.
Elia also tells Cullen that at the time of Rasputin's murder, there were persistent rumors that the British Secret Service was somehow involved in the plot. Could the man that Cullen is looking for be British? He recalled that a certain Englishman mysteriously appears on the scene, late in Yusupov's memoirs. A character by the name of Oswald Rayner arrives at the time of the murder. He is described as a friend that Prince Yusupov had met at Oxford University. Could this be the third man? Cullen returns to England on the trail of Oswald Rayner. He soon discovers that Oswald has a surviving nephew, Gordon Rayner.
He was a very secretive, distant person. He never spoke, to my knowledge, even to those of his generation, of his time in Russia. It is now pretty clear that he was working for the SIS, the Secret Intelligence Service, the forerunner of MI6. Unfortunately, he burnt his papers, so there's nothing in the family records to say exactly what he'd been up to. When he died, we learned from his obituary, which had been written by, I think, his mother's cousin, that Oswald had been in the palace the night Rasputin was murdered.
Gordon Rayner has really set the alarm bells ringing. The fact that his uncle was a Secret Service officer in St. Petersburg.
He was working for the SIS, the forerunner of MI6.
And that he burnt all his records of his time in Russia. The big question is why and what was in them. And I think what I need to do now is make some inquiries to find out what the British Secret Service was doing in St. Petersburg at the time of Rasputin's murder.
Andrew Cook is a leading expert on the history of the Secret Service. He's been researching Rasputin's death intensively. Cullen wants to know if Oswald Rayner and the other agents would have been concerned about Rasputin.
They certainly would, and principally why would be down to the influence that they would have seen him having directly on the Tsar, the Tsarina, the Russian court, and the decision-making process in Russia. We know as well through the papers of the St. Petersburg Secret Service station that in their regular reports back to London, they are referring to Rasputin in code or shorthand as dark forces.
From your extensive research, was there a particular key player amongst the British agents in St. Petersburg at this time?
I think one key figure in particular is John Scale. He seems to have been intricately wired in to the upper echelons of Russian society, at court level, at government level, at diplomatic level. He's very much into taking the bull by the horns, going out into the field, running missions himself. So to me, he is certainly one of the key players. He died in 1947, and he has a surviving daughter who I believe is 91 years old and lives in Scotland.
I wonder if John Scale's daughter will have any recollections of her father's time as an agent in the British Secret Service, or even whether she'll remember anything about it at all.
He went to Russia and learned Russian, but I don't think he was on Secret Service when he went there. But he certainly was later on. And then I think became part of the household. He was attached to the Tsar. I'm quite sure from the way he talked that he lived in the palace because he seemed to know them all so well.
What were your father's feelings about Rasputin?
That he had never met anyone with such an aura of evil. He said it was quite extraordinary. Whatever he was, you felt this, well, evil, I think it was. And I know my father was with the people who planned his murder. He wasn't actually there when it happened, because he was away with the Tsar somewhere, but he was among the ones who carried it out.
I'm absolutely stunned by what Muriel had to say. I didn't ever think that British secret agents were actually involved in the plot to kill Rasputin, but she was so adamant about the involvement of her father.
He was with the people who planned his murder,
And the extent of the hatred that he felt for Rasputin.
He had never met anyone with such an aura of evil.
This really adds another dimension to the investigation, and I need to look at the reasons now, I think, behind why the British wanted to kill Rasputin. What would have been in it for them?
As Andrew Cook explained, the answer lay in the politics of the First World War.
There's a general feeling, a general view held by the British government that Rasputin is an unhelpful influence. His views, advice was actually being taken seriously, and not only being taken seriously, but without